Do
All
I
right.
have to delete a whole? Do I have to leave? I don't know how like restream works. So do I have to leave like stuff in the beginning, like I did before?
No,
Or
we have the I have a thing for restream, so there's no watermark.
nope. There we go. Muted myself. Like to see my chat. Hello, people. Hello. Good morning. Buenos dias.
Hello, good morning, good morning, good morning. Little musical accompaniment there.
Mm.
I should turn my phone off.
My phone stopped working for hours yesterday.
Good morning from Canada. Wow. Hello, Canada.
She's
How are things up in the same part of the continent? I love the fact that they're trying to incite a civil war over there.
oof, yeah.
That's not at all right out of the Russian playbook. But according to Matt Taibbi, Trump doesn't work for Putin at all. They don't have any contact. They're not buddies or anything. He's just literally doing what Russia did and trying to set up a separatist movement to destabilize the country. You know, just total coincidence. He came up with that all on his own.
Normal things.
Yeah, because Trump is capable of thinking that way. Yeah. Ooh, more Canadians.
Oh, it is so hot here. I'm jealous of you. It's going to be 80 degrees here today.
Yeah, it's going to be 55 here. That's like a spring day. Very excited about that. The snowcrete is finally melting. It's mostly gone. Thank
Man, have
God.
you seen the people, the dumbasses, who are going across the Potomac River in the ice and then falling through the ice? I think somebody died 2 weeks ago doing it.
I mean, the first day, maybe, but after that,
Isn't that crazy?
no.
What are y'all doing?
I mean, you used to be able to do that all the time. The Potomac used to freeze over all the time. You could just walk across it, but that was decades and decades ago before the climate got
Oh,
warmer.
Finland. Well, that's exciting.
Oh, hey, wow! Look at that. We're all international today.
Ooh,
Go us.
I am feeling international.
Wait, Finland. That, if I recall correctly, that's the country that beat the shit out of Russia every time it invades.
Really, that's funny.
I'm almost positive Finland's the country that smacked Russia down when they tried to invade, and Russia's been really really salty about it ever since, which I find to be intensely amusing. Ha 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 ha. Go Finland. Oh man, yeah, it's true. Yeah, you guys would be way ahead of us. 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Well, shit, that's almost evening at this point. Yep,
That's
yep, it
funny.
is. It's Finland. Finland's the one that smacked the shit out of Russia. They had it coming. And you guys have been heavily armed ever since then because you've just been expecting Russia to try again because Russia. Personally, I hope they try again so you can smack the shit out of them again because, if they couldn't take Ukraine, they're definitely not going to be able to take you guys. Fucking Russia. God, I hope their economy collapses and Putin gets thrown out of a window. That's going to be so goddamn funny.
My uncle asked me yesterday. He's like, "Hey, if you can have a conversation with anybody who's alive, friend or foe, who do you want to have a conversation with?" And I said Mitch McConnell because I want to tell him that he's done more damage to our political system than anybody else in my entire lifetime. And my uncle goes, "Really?" And I go, "Yeah." I go, "My friends know that if I die before Mitch McConnell, they are to catapult me through his bedroom window at 4 a.m."
Preferably with a grenade inside of you.
Yeah, and he goes, alrighty.
I do like the fact that Mitch McConnell's going to be dead soon, and I'm going to crack one open for that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I do want him to survive long enough to watch the Democrats expand the Supreme Court and to ruin his life's work. I mean, Trump's already ruined his life's work, but I want to watch it. I want to watch Democrats put the final nail on it because that would make me happy.
Watching the GOP turn against Mitch McConnell proved to me how stupid the GOP is, because he really was the most successful Senate Majority Leader.
Yep, but Trump
possibly even in history, he was
But-
more successful than us.
But Trump doesn't like him, and whatever the great leader says must go. It's like, okie dokie.
Mm-hmm.
Idiots. Hey, all right. Well, hopefully this week you guys won't end up watching my elbow for 45 minutes. God, that was so embarrassing.
I thought it was hilarious.
Ugh. How's it going, T-Ree?
800 miles of borderline with Russia. That's crazy.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. They barely have enough troops left to attack 50 miles of border at this point.
Yeah, my
Ukraine's bleeding them dry.
Well, my 7-year-old was like, "Oh, Russia, the U.S., and China have the strongest militaries," and I go, "Not Russia anymore, buddy."
Yeah, they have nukes.
I go, "They have
otherwise-
nuclear weapons, but everything, their economy is collapsing." And I started explaining to him all the ways that Russia is failing now, and he took it all in. I was like, God, I love having a smart kid.
I mean, Jesus, they've been using World War II tanks for over 2 years at this point.
It's funny.
Dumbasses.
Alrighty.
All right, let us get started. What's up, Nell?
Hold on, let me move this over here. Okay. All right, I am ready to stutter and mess up my words.
Woo! Very exciting. Okay, here we go. This is the Opinionated Ogre Podcast, your weekly rampage through current events with a little snark, a bit of foul language, and a lot of strong opinions. There are new episodes every Thursday, and they're... Oh, wow, what was that?
Frog in your throat? a puppet in your throat?
Yeah, really.
Ew, ew, ew.
Hold on.
That was...
Turtle on my throat. Okay.
I think that was a Hello Kitty turtle.
Yes, it was. Anastasia would be extremely annoyed with me if she saw that.
It's funny.
Mm-hmm. Let me try that again. This is the Opinionated Ogre Podcast, your weekly rampage to current events with a little snark, a bit of foul language, and a lot of strong opinions. There are new episodes every Thursday, and they're not safe for work or polite company of any kind whatsoever. I am your podcast host, the Opinionated Ogre, and this is my co-host, Florida Woman. Hello, Florida Woman.
Hi. Have you marked yourself safe from learning more about Ice Barbie and her accused sexual harasser boyfriend making secret sexy time in a private bedroom on their $70 million plane that we're paying for?
Oh, wait, hold on. Is that before or after she fired a pilot because he forgot her blankie? They're so embarrassing. They're absolutely so embarrassing. And the fact, and we were just talking about this before we came on, the fact that both of them are married, and that is, I did not know that, and neither did you until a couple of days ago. And it's like, people have been talking about them stooping for the better part of a year. And yet, the fact that they're both married and obviously cheating on their spouses has not been part of the conversation. And somehow, if this was any Democratic administration, and one of Joe Biden's or Hillary Clinton's or Barack Obama's or Kamala Harris's, if any of their people were stooping an aid and they were married, It would be front page headline scandal. And yet, whatever.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
All right. Anyway, we here at the Opinionated Ogre Podcast would also like to note the passing of civil rights legend Reverend Jesse Jackson at the ripe old age of 84. Congratulations. I should be so lucky to get that high. He paved the way for a lot of black representation in American politics at a time when America really didn't do black representation in much of anything, much less politics.
That's right.
He was so beloved, it's been 24 hours, and the right, including Donald Trump, has yet to spit on his grave, which has to be a record. So, yay. Rest in peace, Reverend. You earned it.
Rest in power.
See, I wasn't going to say that. I thought it would sound weird coming from me, a green person. Thank God for editing. This is the recording for February 19th. Jesus, wow, this is just going to be such a professional show today. This is the recording for February 19th, 2026, and we have a lot to get to on episode 86 of the OGPod. Are we ready to do this?
Yes.
Everything suggesting the contrary, but we're going for it anyway. All right, then let's get to it. It's time for the Ogre Nation News Update.
Roar.
Roar. All right, before we jump in there, let me take a look at some of the comments because we're going to try doing that now. Since you guys are all here live, we might as well talk to you and say howdy. Especially since 400 of you showed up last week to, watch my elbow.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was insane. Let's see.
Listening while working, love your writing. Hearing that this file thing was swinging.
Oh, what? The Epstein files sending aid to Israel? No.
No. Nothing is going to stop us from sending aid to Israel except for really good lawmakers.
Yeah, that is not going to happen, Nell. It's definitely not going to happen from the Trump regime because the Trump regime is run by Christian nationalists. And Christian nationalists will support Israel until they start World War III. Like, Israel must exist as far as Christian nationalists are concerned. So unless they find that Israel has been 100% responsible for everything happening in the Epstein files, and they personally have been selling children into sex slavery as a national part of it's a huge part of their national economy, no, that's not going to happen. So, yeah, we probably shouldn't be sending them that much money. We definitely shouldn't be sending them weapons, but we're definitely not going to be swinging aid away. That'll happen when the Republican Party finishes its pivot from Christian nationalism to Nazis, which is underway.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is a thing that's happening. The Republican Party is pivoting towards Nazism, and Nazism they're white nationalists and they're technically white Christian nationalists, but Nazis will not support Israel. So, look forward to that, I guess. All right. Let us get on to the actual topics. Last week, the regime paid back the $500 million that the fossil fuel industry poured into the 2024 campaign to get Donald Trump elected. And boy, did they get paid back with interest, because we no longer live in a functioning democracy, but a full-fledged oligarchy bought and paid for by the rich. Trump had the EPA reverse a ruling that allowed the government to regulate greenhouse gas emissions for almost 2 decades. All right, this is how it worked. Give me 1 second here. Oop. Sorry. This is how it worked. In 2009, under the Obama administration, the federal government determined that greenhouse gases were a danger to the health and welfare of the population of the world, but more specifically for the United States and our descendants. Therefore, greenhouse gases and everything in that bubble fell under the purview of the EPA to regulate for the safety of the public, which allowed them to tell coal companies, stop pumping out all the fucking greenhouse gases. You can do better. Car emissions, you can do better. Pivot towards green energy, you can do better, et cetera, et cetera. It was a really, really important legal determination, which Republicans opposed, of course. But the Supreme Court upheld it at the time. They were like, yeah, no, it is what it is. Because once upon a time, the Supreme Court didn't pretend climate change didn't exist. But that's all gone now. Here's Trump's statement about it. Quote, I'm not doing a Trump voice because no. We are officially terminating the so-called endangerment finding, a disastrous Obama-era policy. This determination has no basis in fact, none whatsoever, and it has no basis in law. On the contrary, over the generations, fossil fuels have saved millions of lives and lifted billions of people out of poverty all over the world. Of course, that's a fucking lie. Every serious scientist who's not bought and paid for recognizes greenhouse gases are causing climate change, and we all see how the climate is getting more dangerous and unpredictable in real time. But science is for nerds and losers, and the regime makes its own reality. But when that reality crashes into the real world and people are killed, well, fuck them. They're not billionaires who are protected from this kind of stuff anyway. Nah. This is going to unleash a wave of deregulation that will take decades to undo, pushing the world closer to environmental disaster much more quickly because the rich can never have enough fucking money.
Meanwhile, Republican state attorneys general whined and cried and bitched and moaned about wokeness and blah, 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 until they got the Federal Judicial Center to censor its entire section on climate change. Now, if you're not familiar with the Federal Judicial Center, don't be surprised. They're not exactly high profile. They put together reference manuals for judges, so when they get a case involving some newfangled technology like the internet or smartphones, the judges don't have to spend weeks figuring out how it all works. They need to do it for Congress too, because apparently those guys really have problems. But
what was that thing? What was it? A series of tubes for the internet?
Yeah. I just am thinking about the social media hearings in the last Trump administration. But anyways, judges don't have the time nor the resources to figure it all out. So that's what the Federal Judicial Center is for. They do, however, get a great cheat sheet so they can understand the concepts involved and make educated rulings. But now, because Republicans insist climate change isn't real, despite the entire scientific community saying otherwise, and again, every last one of us seeing it happen in real time, all of that information has been removed from the reference book, so judges have nothing to go by, just as numerous cases head to the court.
So I'm sure that'll work out great.
Yeah, removing it just as the court is inundated with all of these cases. It's probably going to be fine.
Yeah, no, definitely. Now, it's really important to understand that for 8 years, the alt-left told us that Obama was just as bad as Bush on climate change. Then they told us for 4 years that Biden was just as bad as Trump on climate change. Both parties are the same. The uniparty, the corrupt duopoly, blah, blah, fucking blah. But that was all a lie, and it was always a fucking lie. Worse, they fucking knew it was a lie the entire time. Great and mighty progressives who are more progressives than you'll ever progress. Like the Young Turks and Glenn Greenwald and Nina Turner, they lied and lied and lied and lied about how both sides are the same and Democrats weren't doing anything for the environment. So why bother voting for them? Now, as Republicans undo everything Democrats put into place, we're discovering just how much we need all of that quote unquote nothing Democrats did and how much it's going to hurt now that all of that nothing is gone. And where are all the great and mighty progressives who lied and lied and lied and lied? Are they apologizing for lying to us? Are they sorry they put Trump back into power? No. They're busy telling us that the Epstein files are a hoax and that Democrats aren't doing enough to fix the disaster they caused by gifting us with another Trump presidency. I know I talk about this constantly. I'm a broken record, but these people have never been held accountable. And they're still out there telling us that Democrats are to blame. They will be telling you not to vote for the Uniparty this November for the midterms because they don't want a blue wave. They will be telling you that both sides are too corrupt to support in 2028. So stay home. They're not progressives. I cannot stress this enough. They're collaborators. And when the regime falls, they should be put up against the wall with the rest of the fucking Nazis for the decades of pain and suffering they forced on the rest of us.
Yeah, the EPA thing is really concerning to me, not just because of the climate change stuff, but just as a whole. I cannot stress enough how much damage this is going to do, just in general, the destruction of the EPA to communities, working class communities around the country. I was telling Ogre the other day that I'm from Love Canal. For those of you who do not know what Love Canal is, it's in Western New York in Niagara Falls.
And it has nothing to do with love.
It has nothing to do with love. It is this neighborhood that it was like a site that was owned by this company called Tucker Chemical back in the day. And Tucker Chemical, did what they do. They dumped all of their chemicals in this canal, okay? And then they covered it up. And then they sold it to the city for $1. And then the city allowed houses in neighborhoods to be built on this land, including a school and all kinds of stuff. So that's where I was born. My parents grew up there. My mom's side, my mom grew up there.
And the city, the city knew what was there.
They knew what was there.
They didn't tell anyone. They were just like, no, this is a great place to raise kids. Don't worry about it.
So growing up, my mom saw like this sludge leaking through the basement walls, and she said that her grandfather had the biggest, juiciest tomatoes ever. I said, yeah, because they were mutant tomatoes.
Did they grow teeth and start attacking?
The kids would walk down the street and they would find these rocks and they would scrape them across the ground and they would leave a trail of fire. They called them fire rocks. The stuff came up through the ground at the school. There was an elementary school there. When I was born, it ended up becoming the first Superfund site in the country. Love Canal is why we have Superfund sites. It's why Aaron Brockovich was able to get such a big settlement for the people out in California. And if you actually watch that movie, she mentions Love Canal in it. So when I was growing up, like when I was born there, I have memories from when I was like 2 or 3 years old where I looked outside and I saw people in spacesuits. And it wasn't until I was older that I realized those people were not in spacesuits. They were in hazmat suits. And I was over here sticking my head in the water. So we know a lot of people in our family, a lot of people in my family have health problems related to Love Canal. They got settlements for their health problems. My mom had a stroke when she was 27. She has a brain tumor. My aunts and uncles all died. A lot of them died really young. My grandmother died when she was 50 years old. A lot of health problems. There's babies born with birth defects and all kinds of things. And I'm talking about this to say that this is where we're headed again. If the Trump regime allows these companies to pollute our country,
they absolutely will, because it's money.
Yes, they're gonna do. King Ravet, I am Florida woman, the Ogre's co-host. I'm on the podcast every week.
She's also like shockingly day glow white, probably
Yes,
from growing up in a super fun thing.
probably. That's not. Yeah, I'm radioactive. Anyways, no, we've been friends for a really long time, like a really long time at this point, like almost at least 15 years.
At minimum. That's like 1/3 of your less than 1/3 of your life, because you're in your 40s now.
I'm just 40. I don't understand why you keep talking shit to me about my age, and just leave it alone.
Because you have gray hair and I know it's annoying you.
Oh, so much gray hair. I think that's from the kid. But anyway, so this is what's going to happen across the country. And I'm telling you that you do not want this to happen to your communities.
Because it won't be where the rich people live. It won't be anywhere near where they live. It's going to be where we live.
Oh, that's crazy that a whole Patrick said that a whole river burst into flames when he was a child, but nobody believed you. Nobody believed him.
Yeah, no, I didn't believe that either until I saw the pictures of it. I was like, holy shit. And they just want to go back to it. They just want to go back to it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, anyways, moving on. While election polling has not been all that great over the last several election cycles, opinion polling has been pretty decent and very helpful in determining the public's mood from topics ranging from the economy to immigration to the direction of the country. To the surprise of absolutely no one, public sentiment has been dropping like a fucking rock tied to an anvil strapped to a rocket pointing towards the bottom of the... What? What is this?
You don't know the Marianas Trench?
No. Like marinara?
Not quite, but Marinara Trench. It's the deepest part in the ocean.
Oh, no. That's something that my child would know, not me. Anyways, let me say it again then.
Marianas.
Oh, I was gonna name, if Nathan was a girl, his name was gonna be Marianas, but not, or Mariana, but oh yeah, okay, I see where it is now. Sorry. This is what happens when I'm reading his stuff. You can tell who writes what part of the notes.
I don't know. I just usually read right through yours, but
yeah, whatever.
Humble brag.
Yeah, you can suck my dick. So, to the surprise of absolutely no one, public sentiment has been dropping like a fucking rock tied to an anvil strapped to a rocket pointed towards the bottom of the Marianas Trench. The regime is underwater on everything. Pun intended, I'm sure.
Womp, womp.
More people disapprove than approve of how the regime is handling crime, jobs, immigration, the economy, education, overseas threats, overseas allies, all of it. Trump's personal approval rating is the lowest of any president in the last 74 years, hitting an obscenely low 37%.
I think he's only tied by himself in his
Hilarious.
first term.
The Professional Left podcast calls this the Sarah Palin floor, the absolute lowest the right will go. Beyond this is the cult who will support any Republican, even if they eat a live baby on the front lawn of the White House, as long as they say they're doing it to own the libs and to keep black people away from white people.
I mean, really.
No,
He's really good. He could just go out there and just spit roast a live baby and say, I'm doing this to protect white America. And they'll be like, God bless you, Donald Trump. You were sent by Jesus.
Yeah,
not a cult,
crazy.
though. It's not a cult.
I saw a car past me yesterday with a picture of Donald Trump on the hood of her car. The entire hood of the car was a photo of Donald Trump, and I looked at my uncle, and I was like, not a cult, though.
Not a cult. Remember, when Obama was president, oh my God, he's the chosen one, and blah, 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 and they worship him, and it was like, I don't see no one flying no Obama flags, but when Trump was in there, straight up fucking cult.
Patrick says that he needs a marinara trench. Me too.
Bow chicka bow wow.
Anyways, these are people who will never abandon Trump, even after we see the pictures and videos of him raping a 14-year-old child.
And apparently there's been ritual murder and sacrifice and shit going on there too. They're just not releasing that stuff either because, it's too sensitive for the public. It's like, because they did release it, they would have to fucking explain who was doing it because it wasn't Jeffrey Epstein.
Well, they were talking about a torture video, weren't they?
That and other stuff. It's like they don't want that getting out because they'll have to do something about that. There's no way that's going to get out, and then they're going to be like, well, Jeffrey Epstein's dead, so we're just not going to follow up on it. There's no fucking way they'll get away with that shit. Like Pam Bondi will get stoned in the street when she's like, yeah, no, don't worry about the torture video. This case is closed. She'll get stoned to death.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, the bad numbers in the polls are humiliating, and they're pissing off the Mad King, who is threatening to sue pollsters who report the bad numbers. Caving to this pressure, Gallup Polls has announced that for the first time in 88 years, they will no longer publish presidential approval ratings. Their excuse, the pause, and it is a pause, quote, reflects an evolution in how Gallup focuses its public research and thought leadership. Thought leadership for sure.
Yeah.
Evolution, my fucking ass. 5 seconds after Trump is gone and the regime falls, Gallup will suddenly evolve back into polling presidential approval ratings.
Yeah, they're gonna evolve like a fucking Pokemon.
Right. Charmander. But how but how can they be trusted after this? A nonpartisan polling agency that censors itself to please the Mad King is, by definition, fucking partisan. So fuck you, Gallup. You failed this country just like so much of the legacy press.
And that brings us to CBS News,
Ugh.
run by the right-wing piece of shit Barry Weiss. After it was revealed that Peter Attia, a wellness guru who pushes junk science, was great buddies. I mean, really great buddies. He wrote some really embarrassing emails to him, like what an amazing, awesome, incredible person you are. I was like, dude, get off his tip. But yeah, he was great buddies with Jeffrey Epstein, and he clearly knew he was a kitty raping pedophile because he kept talking about how his secret lifestyle and he couldn't talk about it. It was like, okay, buddy. So once they found out that, he was, like this, super tight with Epstein, Weiss refused to fire him because, you see, Weiss had just hired him a few weeks ago, and firing him would be admitting that she made a mistake. Now, this is the thing I don't understand. She didn't know that he was best buddies with the pedophile. So I don't see how that would be embarrassing for her in any way, shape, or form. It's like, oh, I didn't know about that. Fuck that guy. I threw his ass under the bus the second I found out. Sorry, I didn't know.
Well, because they can never throw any of their people under the bus. They have to protect them at all costs, even when they're pedophiles.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, if you're supposed to be this upstanding, good person, blah, 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 pedophile is the lowest bar to clear. You don't have to protect them, but they do it anyway. Like the Catholic Church did it. The fucking Boy Scouts did it. It's like, no one, colleges do it. I could never in a million years hold a college accountable. It's like, oh, you caught one of your people, hurting your players, and you immediately reported them to police and fired them. Good. You did your job. Thank you.
Well, Jim Jordan doesn't believe in that.
Exactly. But it's like, what? Oh, it would have damaged our reputation. Why? Was it going on for years? Okay, now that's a problem because it was going on for years and that shouldn't have happened. But if it wasn't going on for that long, you found out and immediately threw them to the wolves, but people are going to be like, "Thank you. You did your job. You protected our kids. Good job. This is someplace I would want to send my kid because I know the administration is going to fucking protect them." But now it's like all these colleges and again the Boy Scouts and all these other places are like, no, they fucking protect them because they want to protect their reputation over people, over children, over women. And it's like, okay, well, fuck you too, Weiss. So yeah, it was more important for Weiss to, protect his reputation and hers and to have Adia push his junk science on the once respected CBS than it was to distance the network from a fucking pedophile or, quote unquote pedophile or pedophile, at least someone who fucking knew what a pedophile was doing and didn't remain buddies with them. Now, it's not just Weiss shitting on the legacy of CBS. Their new right-wing billionaire owners are also busy pleasing the Mad King as well. Stephen Colbert was supposed to interview Texas Senate candidate James Tallarico, who is currently running against Jasmine Crockett, to see which one of them can beat the shit out of the deeply criminal Ken Paxton in November. Whichever one of them wins, Paxton is probably going to be the Republican candidate, and he's going to be in trouble. So may the best candidate on our side win, and fuck Ken Paxton. But CBS's lawyer said no, because allegedly they didn't want to run afoul of the newly expanded equal time rule that FCC Chair Brendan Carr says now applies to the late night shows. The goal, of course, is to keep late night hosts from having Democrats on, because what's the First Amendment when you're a fascist piece of shit? Carr, if you'll recall, is the loser that threatened Disney like a dime store mobster and forced Jimmy Kimmel off the air until the backlash cost Disney so much money they had to put Kimmel back on. For now, it looks like Carr's getting his way with Colbert, although Colbert was ordered not to talk about being censored, which he promptly ignored. And the only thing worse than censoring comedians is everyone knowing you did it. Normally, Colbert has 2.5, 2.9 million viewers on an average episode. They put this interview on YouTube because you can do that, right? The FCC can't regulate YouTube interviews. So they put it on YouTube. And last I looked, it has over 10 million views. So
Crazy.
Enjoy that Streisand effect, morons. Good job. So many of these people who were meant to safeguard democracy really have been the first to drop to their knees and fillet the would-be king. And it's gross. And when the regime falls, all of these fucking people have to pay the price for selling out to fascism.
Nuremberg them all.
Nuremberg them all.
So you might not be aware, but we are currently in the midst of the third government shutdown of Trump's second term. This time, though, the Department of Homeland Security is the only department impacted.
It's a big department, but it is the only department.
Right. Republicans chose to let funding for DHS lapse on Valentine's Day rather than implement modest changes that the Democrats were seeking, like requiring ICE agents to obtain judicial warrants before storming into a person's house, something that the Constitution requires.
They're really still bitching about that, too. They're just like,
Wild.
We can't do that. You know how long it would take to get all those warrants? Yeah, too fucking bad. Sorry, the law is getting in the way. Boo-hoo.
Making sure that they have body cams, increasing their training, and not allowing the agents to cover their faces with masks like fucking common bank robbers. The GOP rejected the Democrats' demands, so they are currently unable to reach the 60-vote threshold they need to overcome the filibuster.
Aww.
As we've mentioned, this doesn't mean that ICE will grind to a halt, Last year's big ugly bill allocated $75 billion in supplemental funding for the brown shirts, ensuring the agency has plenty of funding to terrorize communities across the country for years.
Yeah, that's really important for people to understand. Democrats could manage to not fund ICE. Even if they manage to do that, ICE is still going to operate.
Right, exactly.
That funding is locked in.
Exactly. It's statutory funding, which means, shutdowns don't affect it. What the shutdown will impact is FEMA and the TSA. However, some Democrats have said that they would help Republicans pass funding for both of those agencies as long as ICE and CBP are not part of the funding package. Lawmakers are continuing to negotiate a deal to end the shutdown, but as of right now, they're too far apart to come to an agreement. The important thing here is that we're once again watching what it looks like when Republican incompetence is running roughshod over the government. We've said for years that the GOP is completely incapable of governing, and that's largely intentional. Americans continue to elect people to government who don't actually believe in fucking government. They want to break things so that they can point at it and shout, see, we told you the government doesn't work. Look at how badly it's running. And every single time they take power, they do this, and it traces back decades. When Republicans take charge, there are two things that we can always count on: shutdowns and a soaring deficit. And a Democratic president has to come behind them and try to clean it all up.
Yep. Before we move on, King Ray Vet says, I'm afraid our politicians don't have the stomach for an American Nuremberg. I'll be so mad if they want to, quote, move forward without punishing all of these assholes. Now, I've been writing about this for some time. Normally, that's what happens, right? We've talked about this on the show a bunch of times. This is what we've been doing in this country since the fucking Confederacy. Right?
I always say, if we had hung the fucking Confederates, we wouldn't be here now.
Exactly. But this is what we've been doing. Racist white men try to destroy this country over and 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 over. And we just go, well, that's over now. We have to move forward and heal the country.
Yeah.
But here's the thing you have to pay attention to and think about this really, really hard. Okay, I don't know how old most of you are in the audience. I'm in my 50s, and I have only been really closely paying attention to politics for like the last 16 or 17 years. But I was, not completely oblivious before that. And I've been reading, right? Lots and lots of reading. After Nixon, the country was not happy that he got a pardon, but there wasn't people in the streets screaming, we have to hang the Republicans. After Reagan did his shit, people were not happy about the crimes, but they weren't screaming that Republicans have to be hung in the street. George H.W. Bush did some shady shit, not nearly as much as other Republicans. But again, it wasn't like, well, they have to pay for all their crimes, yada, yada, yada. After George W. Bush, people were like, we just need to fix this. We need to get the country moving in the right direction again. They wanted people to go to jail, but it wasn't the only thing they were talking about. It wasn't the top thing they were talking about. No one was talking about Nuremberg trials. They were talking about, it's like, we can't let this happen again, but, we have to move forward. Trump, after the first Trump regime, they wanted Trump held responsible, and all the people who fucking attacked the Capitol, when they got arrested, people were like, oh shit, we do that? That's a thing that happens? All right. And remember, the press lost its fucking mind over that because it's not something we do. When racist white people go wilding, we tend to go, well, you have to understand things from their point of view. Blah, blah, blah. Now let's all reach together and, heal the country.
Oh, kumbaya.
Right. But if you look at how the left is talking now, and I don't mean just me, I mean, I started saying it early, but I am far from the only person saying this. Nuremberg them all is really widespread. People
Yeah.
are talking about Nuremberg trials all fucking over the place.
So much so that there's a movie
Exactly.
about the Nuremberg trials coming out. And I don't think that's a coincidence.
Democrats are talking about Nuremberg trials. Actual Democrats, not just,
Yeah,
people who
lawmakers.
vote. Yeah, not people who vote Democrats. Democrats, elected officials are like, no. When this is over, Nuremberg trials. People are going to fucking jail. This shit, no. People are going to fucking jail, and they've been telling ICE. It's like,
Yeah.
you think that you have immunity. You do not. Donald Trump will not be here forever. And when he's gone, we're going to come for you. You do not have total immunity. So this is not something the left has ever done. This is not something the Democratic Party has ever done. And this is why I keep writing about it, because it doesn't happen unless you can believe that it can happen.
Right.
So
I really think that January 6th changed a lot of people. Watching our government be
literally physically attacked.
like attacked, and our members of Congress fearing for their lives, and Capitol police officers beaten with American flags on
that
poles.
really fucking radicalized a lot of us.
A lot of us. It was like, what the fuck is happening here? I mean, you and I have been saying that Republicans should be held accountable for as long as we've been writing, but a lot of normal people, a lot of like average Americans who aren't really tuned in to the news the way that we are, saw that and they were appalled. And then when Donald Trump pardoned all of them, it was more than they could stomach. So we have to stand together and demand that our old ass Democratic leaders, the Chuck Schumers, the ones who, want to kumbaya, don't have a say.
Exactly. I know because the press is going to go full throated. Let's work together to move the country forward. And we have to be there screaming twice as loud. Fuck you. I'm tying the nooses. Let's get the Nuremberg trial started, because motherfuckers have to hang. Motherfuckers have to hang for this shit. They're building concentration camps. There's going to be mass fucking graves, because that's what Stephen Miller masturbates about when his wife closes her eyes because they don't actually have sex because he's too gross. All right.
Imagine that face looking up at you or down at you.
I'm telling you, they fucking wear clown masks. It's got to be more of a turn on than Stephen Miller's face. But this is what they're fucking planning, and there's not going to be any let's move forward. It's going to
come to me, Nazi Daddy.
All right.
We have to move on.
We do have to move on. It is time for You Scream, I Scream. We all scream because of fucking ICE. I'm so proud of that little clip. Anyway, ICE really, really hates when American citizens exercise their First Amendment rights. They literally murdered 2 white American observers because they had the audacity to document what they were doing in the streets of Minneapolis. Meanwhile, American activists have remained undeterred and continue to follow Stephen Miller's Nazis in their cars. When ICE agents show up in their neighborhoods, their tails begin honking loudly to alert unsuspecting immigrants in the area. Federal agents are really, really mad about this and begun harassing these observers, despite judges ruling that it is not illegal to follow ICE agents at a safe distance. Social media is filled with videos of ICE and CPD agents threatening to arrest activists for following them. Sometimes the agents drive past the activists' homes as they're following behind, or stop and say their names and addresses in an attempt to intimidate those exercising their constitutional rights. Repeatedly, agents have repeatedly mentioned adding their names to a database of domestic terrorists. Um, Rachel Maddow talked about this, I think, on I don't know, recently, that they just cut off cars, they almost cause accidents, and then they come out and they start screaming at them about, they scream their names at them. It's like, we know where you live. We're going to follow you. We're going to come and get you. You better stop fucking taping us. You better stop fucking following us. Mostly they do this to women, of course, because, of course. But Reuters investigated the allegations of intimidation on Americans and reported on unidentified ICE agents who said they have followed activists back to their home to, quote unquote, freak them out. So this is definitely fucking happening. In Minnesota, privacy advocates have said that ICE's use of private data to track down and intimidate activists is a violation of state law. John Bowler, a member of the ACLU, told NPR News, following and observing or reporting on federal agencies or federal activities is not a criminal activity. It's protected First Amendment activity. To be using those cameras, to use those license plate readers to surveil protesters has a chilling effect on First Amendment rights, and that's what we think the goal is. It absolutely fucking is. Minnesota contracts with Flock to store its data and has restrictions on how it can be used. Flock has insisted it's not working with ICE unless a local government allows it. However, the state says it has not given ICE access to private data. So how are they getting it? That's the question.
Well, Buffalo, New York has a big problem, and it's not just my Bills' inability to get to the Super Bowl.
Womp womp.
About 10 years ago, the state spent millions of dollars on upgrades to a park off of I-90 near the Peace Bridge. That's the bridge in Buffalo that connects the city to Canada. When the state fixed the park, they created a roundabout to route traffic through the area. Officials from the Buffalo and Fort Erie Public Bridge Authority warned the state that the roundabout was a really, really, really bad idea because it was very confusing. One of the exits directs drivers to I-90, and the other goes across the bridge into Canada. The exits are like right next to each other in the roundabout.
Good design.
Terrible design. So in 2016, then Governor Andrew Cuomo's admin wasn't deterred at all and went along with the plans anyways, because of course he fucking did. As anticipated, the roundabout created a problem and confused the fuck out of drivers. And because the state eliminated a road that was previously there that allowed people to turn around, drivers who made the wrong turn now have no choice but to continue moving forward. And guess where that leads them? Straight across the fucking road to Canada.
And you have to go through.
You have to. A Canadian border agent told the New York Times that people make the wrong turn about 20 times a day.
Jesus Christ.
Now, in the past, that wasn't that big of a deal. People who made the wrong turn were sent back to the U.S. and it was fine. It was not a big deal. They knew they made a mistake. No harm, no foul, right? But now the Trump regime is using the confusing ass roundabout as a trap. Instead of just allowing people to move along and come back into the U.S., they're taking immigrants, both documented and undocumented, into custody and holding them for weeks on end. Recently, a research scientist who works with the University of Buffalo was held for weeks after accidentally crossing the Peace Bridge after his GPS led him astray, which actually happens all the time, I can tell you as a person who's driven in this area. The researcher was a legal immigrant, but his paperwork was apparently not enough to get him out of custody, and he was held first in right outside of Buffalo, and then he was moved to fucking Michigan. So they moved a legal immigrant who had all of the proper documentation.
Well, they don't believe it half the time. Well, most of the
I
time,
know.
it's like, oh, here's my passport. Oh, that's fake. What the
Right.
fuck do you mean it's fake?
Right, exactly. So Governor Kathy Hochul has now erected an electronic sign to warn drivers of the danger ahead, but both the Bridge Authority and the Trump regime are refusing to fix the problem and, put an actual real solution in place to stop it, meaning one wrong turn in Buffalo can still ruin somebody's life.
Jesus Christ, they're the fucking worst. Um, before we move on, is the sound all right? Can you people hear us properly? Is it working? Someone said it was lagging a bit.
Yeah, you were a little garbled when you did your ice segment.
Oh, that might have just been the frog in my throat again.
No.
You sure?
Yeah, it started after you played the soundbite.
Sure it wasn't. Sure it wasn't this.
So I don't know if maybe you should redo it really quickly, just so that we have it. And if it isn't, because you sound fine now.
Well, I could always re-record it later. Which section was that?
It was your ice, so I'm gonna highlight it in red really fast.
I could always re-record it later if it doesn't come out right.
Okay.
Sometimes you don't hear it here and it still records properly. It's weird.
Yeah, he is coughing up fur balls. Ogre balls. Ogre balls.
Yes, I like to gargle the ogre balls.
No, chicka wow wow. All right.
All right.
All right. Moving on.
All right. It's the return of my personal favorite section. We live in the stupidest timeline.
Oh,
I do have to come up with like some little thing for that little jingle for it. Okay, time for a history lesson. In the late 1920s, early 1930s, the Soviet Union was discovering that maybe communist control of farming was a bad idea. Not due to an inherent flaw in communism itself, but because the people in charge were too fucking stupid to dictate the agriculture for an entire nation. This tends to be the flaw with most systems, with all the power concentrated in the hands of very few people. Smart people with good intentions struggle to get stuff right. Idiots blindly following an ideology get it disastrously wrong. Enter Trofim Lysenko. Following the wisdom of Marxism, which does not apply to farming, Lysenko rejected what was at the time modern biology and invented his own agricultural techniques that would totally revolutionize farming and save Mother Russia. Farming according to the tenets of Marxism, which does not make any sense. Anyway, he wanted to reject bougie Western genetics and embrace Soviet science, which again, whenever you think about Marxism as a political ideology, it doesn't apply to science or agriculture. That's not how that works. But still, Stalin loved it. And he purged thousands of Soviet scientists and academics who protested that Lysenko was a moron and a lunatic. They were fired, locked up, or killed because ideology overall. Soviet science was set back decades and never really recovered. Lysenkoism, which is what it came to be known as, and the resulting famine killed millions across the USSR. China also loved the idea of, quote unquote, communist science and ended up killing a reported 55 million of their own people through stupid farming. Fast forward a century, and the United States is entering its own Lysenkoism period. Yay. Last week, it was announced that the U.S. Cancer Institute is abandoning real research to waste time and money, studying whether or not ivermectin can kill cancer cells. If you'll recall, ivermectin was the miracle drug that the right insisted could cure COVID. It couldn't, and it can't. But thousands or more made themselves sick taking a drug meant to deworm horses. Worse, they took a veterinarian drug instead of getting vaccinated or getting real help. God knows how many people died because of right-wing disinformation. So even after it was long debunked, the right cannot stop pushing ivermectin because they can never. Oop, lost Florida woman. Give me a second. Let me get her back in here.
That was weird.
Hi, Florida woman.
Yeah, that was super weird, right?
Yeah, little. Don't leave us. We're sorry. We'll blame it on TV. Whatever she said, she apologizes. All right. Even after it was long debunked, the right cannot stop pushing ivermectin because they can never, ever be wrong about anything. If it can't cure COVID, then they will fucking prove it cures cancer, even if it means killing thousands of cancer patients in the process. At the same time this announcement went out, Moderna, one of the companies that made the vaccine for COVID, announced that the FDA will not be reviewing their application for an mRNA flu vaccine. This is the same technology that the wildly successful COVID vaccine was based on, and it could save thousands of lives every year. But because the regime is now run by anti-vaxxers who do not believe in modern science or even fucking germs, they do not believe germs exist. I hate these people. We're not going to be allowed to have this flu vaccine that is probably going to be way better than the current flu vaccines we have. So welcome to the age of moron science. We truly live in the stupidest timeline.
The stupidest fucking timeline.
Absolutely the dumbest.
All right, well, on to my favorite segment. Headlines for short attention spans. So I'm gonna take you back in time, okay? Once upon a time, in the faraway year of 2017.
So long ago.
A very orange man issued a joint press release with a very sexy Canadian Prime Minister and announced they were looking forward to the, quote, very expeditious completion of the Gordie Howe International Bridge, which will serve as a vital economic link between the two nations. The bridge would stretch between Detroit, Michigan, and Windsor, Ontario, and provide an alternative to the privately owned Ambassador Bridge that connects the two cities. Several months later, the rich owners of the Ambassador Bridge ran a mean commercial about the big orange man in the hope that they'd be able to stop the project and continue being showered with tolls from American and Canadian travelers. The plan didn't work, and in 2019, the Orange Man signed an appropriations bill that allotted $15 million towards customs and border protections inspections and screening systems for the bridge, which, by the way, the bridge that Canada had paid for in full.
Those damn Canadians. Why are they always, just riding on our coattails? Oh, wait, they paid for it. Never mind.
Right. Fast forward 7 years, the Orange Man, now dementia-riddled, was sitting on a golden commode one day when he decided that he didn't like the bridge anymore. He huffed and puffed and typed out a whiny tweet threatening to keep the completed bridge closed until America was compensated money that it didn't spend to build the bridge. Unsurprisingly, a lot of the claims he made in his post sounded like the commercial that the Ambassador Bridge owners aired long ago. Shortly after the Orange Man's rant, reports revealed the owner of the Ambassador Bridge had met with Epstein's buddy, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, just hours before the Orange Man lost his shit online.
Total coincidence.
The new Canadian Prime Minister, who is not nearly as sexy,
Melania is very sad about that,
but is incredibly smart, is now fighting to get the bridge opened. But the Orange Man is not budging. One wonders how much money the billionaire owner of the Ambassador Bridge donated to Trump or Letnick to get them to keep the Gordie Howe Bridge closed and put more money in the greedy billionaires' pockets.
Yeah, it's not a bribe. The Supreme Court calls it a tip.
A sexy elbow. Oh, yeah, look at that. Things happen.
Telling you, they glow white. Anyway.
Actually, my elbow is tan. Thank you very much.
But what, did you put it in a microwave by accident?
Shut the fuck up.
Moving on, one of the provisions of the big, ugly Republican bill passed last year prohibited Medicaid funds from being used at Planned Parenthood clinics. Experts in women's health warned that this would lead to clinic closures across the country, and now that's happening. At least 23 Planned Parenthood clinics are closing, including ones located in Polk County, Florida. That has been, there's been a PP clinic there in Central Florida for more than 50 years. The clinic provided a variety of reproductive health services that didn't provide abortions. The closures of the 23 clinics will now leave thousands, if not tens of thousands of women without access to affordable services, and more women will die of preventable deaths. And it's important to understand that this is explicitly the point. Republicans are not just targeting abortion. They want to make women's health care all but vanish because hurting women is part of their core ideology. Women have made so many gains in the last 50 years. Men are in serious danger of losing control of all the levers of power. We've talked about this before. Men are not thriving in school, not graduating college, not entering the high-paying fields at the same level as women at all. And it's not because feminism's conspiring against them, but a lot of it has to do is that men have to work a lot harder now than they used to in a rigged economy. At the same time, they've been conditioned by the Joe fucking Rogans of the world to not put any effort in at all. Women, on the other hand, have been taught for the last 50 years to work twice as hard just to get half of what they have. But they've been doing that. But that's not fair. So Republicans have decided to fix that by destroying women because sick and dying women are more easily put back on the heel of patriarchy. So, yay.
Yay for me. So let's wrap up headlines with some regime failures. This is our favorite part of the day. Pete Hegseth lost a big fight last week when a federal judge ripped him apart for his attempt to violate Senator Mark Kelly's constitutional rights. As we mentioned on a previous episode, the drunken buffoon was trying to demote the retired Navy captain and astronaut and reduce his military pension for committing the heinous crime of telling service members that they don't have to follow unlawful orders. Something every service member is taught during basic training.
Scandalous.
This got Petey's panties in such a twist that he forgot how to lift weights and do pull-ups. And Kelly, of course, immediately sued. U.S. Judge Richard J. Leon, which I believe, I didn't write it down, but I believe that he was a George W. Bush appointee, but I'm not 100% certain, temporarily blocked the dollar store Harvey Dent from punishing Kelly. See? Hold on one second. I just want to see who he was appointed by. I'm not going to say that again. What was his name?
Richard J. Leon.
You can entertain our crowd while I do this.
Oh, wait. Let me start juggling. Oh, wait. I don't have any balls to juggle. I gargled them all.
I was correct. Yeah. So Bush appointee, George W. Bush appointee U.S. District Judge Richard J. Leon temporarily blocked the dollar store Harvey Dent from punishing Kelly, saying, quote, rather than trying to shrink the First Amendment liberties of retired service members, Secretary Hegseth and his fellow defendants might reflect and be grateful for the wisdom and expertise that retired service members have brought to the public discussions and debate on military matters in our nation over the past 250 years. Bam! Hit him with the 250-year anniversary and everything. The judge also criticized those who said Kelly should have gone through the military appeals process, dismissing it as an attempt by the Department of Defense to have the, quote, first crack at adjudicating Kelly's First Amendment rights. Leon went on to warn that Hegseth's actions threatened to erode the constitutional rights of millions of military retirees. The judge got so into his takedown of the regime that he even quoted a rock star, writing, quote, after all, as Bob Dylan famously said, you don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows. To say the least, our retired veterans deserve more respect from their government, and our Constitution demands that they receive it. Hegseth, of course, whined about it and vowed to appeal.
Supreme Court, come and save me.
He's just thrusting those hips and doing those
Kegels?
No. Yeah, he probably should do some Kegels. No, oh my God. Cowbell. The cowbell squats that he was doing.
He's so embarrassing. Being a warrior is all about being manly. It's like, okay, sit down, son. Shut up. Speaking of Kelly and the video in question, Jeanine Pirro, the U.S. attorney in D.C., took a break from her third or fourth bottle of wine at lunch to be humiliated by a grand jury yet again. This time, Aunt Tipsy tried to bring charges against all 6 Democrats on the video. Those would be Senator John Kelly from Arizona, of course, Representatives Jason Crow of Colorado, Maggie Goodlander of New Hampshire, Chris DeLuzio and Chrissy Houlihan both from PA, as well as Senator Elisa Slotkin from Michigan. We don't know the specific charges, but it was almost certainly sedition or some variation of that, considering the statute they were charged under. But could have been that, or maybe just making big baby Trump's feelings go boom, boom. Who knows? Anyway, adding to her string of grand jury losses, which just that sentence alone should not exist in the wild.
No, there's a reason why they say you can indict a ham sandwich.
But apparently she can't, or a Subway sandwich. Anyway, Pirro failed to secure an indictment because random people off the street are simply refusing to do the regime's dirty work for them. And that's another reason the regime ultimately is fucked. Republicans, for their part, were quite relieved this idiotic ploy failed, with many of them saying they oppose this attempt at lawfare. They repeated that line a lot. Lawfare. They're very worried about lawfare.
Sure they are.
Oh, yeah. And back when Biden was in office, the most progressives who ever progressed, Matt Taibbi and Glenn Greenwald, they cried a lot of big sobby tears over lawfare. What Glenn Greenwald and Taibbi were worried about at the time was Republicans being held accountable for their crimes. What Republicans are worried about now, and I've written about this before, is the regime eroding and eventually erasing the taboo against prosecuting the opposition party. The regime, of course, is right now abusing the DOJ. They're just making shit up and trying to smear political enemies. But what Republicans are increasingly afraid of is that when the regime falls, and it will, Democrats will happily prosecute them. For generations, it's been taboo to prosecute racist white men we've just talked about this before, for their many, many, many crimes against the nation. But Trump is completely doing away with that taboo. The shield that has protected Republicans from the consequences of their actions is toast, which is why I am very, very comfortable saying they're going to be Nuremberg trials, because it's not shocking anymore for the government to, investigate and charge the political opponents with crimes, especially when they've committed lots and lots and lots of fucking crimes. So Republicans are really, really worried about this, and they fucking should be. Boo hoo for them. Breaks my heart. All right. We're going to move on to self-care of the week. I'm giving you guys an update on last week's ramen experiment. It was a huge fucking success. As a reminder, last week was Anastasia's 16th birthday, and one of the things she really likes me to do is make anime food for her. The more authentic, the better. Now, I know how to make basic ramen, right? I know how to make fast and dirty ramen. I've been making it for years, and it's good. Not great, but good. This time, though, I made it almost completely from scratch, except for the noodles. And it came out fucking amazing. The next day, I reheated some leftovers, and it was even fucking better. Possibly the best ramen I've ever had, which is a really, really weird thing for me to say out loud because I'm the one that made it, not a restaurant. So I'm not used to eating food and going, holy shit, this is better than anything I've ever had in a restaurant. So I'm going to try again, make it in the morning, and reheat it for dinner and see how that goes because, damn.
Why don't you make it the day before? Make it the day before and let it sit in the fridge so it has more time to marry.
Well, depends how much time I have. But then on Saturday, I took Anastasia and Lila to go see Twice, one of the most popular K-pop groups in the world, which, if you know anything about K-pop, means they're one of the most popular groups in the world, period. Never mind K-pop groups, because K-pop is fucking huge. So, all three of us are fans. And since, like I mentioned, this was for Anastasia's 16th birthday, I splurged a lot and got really good seats. The girls knew they were good seats. They didn't know how good they were. And they were freaking out the entire night that we were really this close to their favorite, one of their favorite groups. They've loved Twice for like the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. For like Anastasia, it's like most of her life that she can remember. So this was a huge, huge deal for them. And it was even better because the last song that they play for every concert is a random song, right? It's like they have a set list and then they pick a random song. And this particular show, because it was on Valentine's Day, they picked Heart Shaker, which is actually quite literally Anastasia's favorite Twice song.
That's cool.
So her head exploded and we were scooping up bits and pieces of it for several minutes afterwards. Last week was extremely stressful for me. I'm going to be writing about why soon, but this was a really, really nice way to end it, and I needed that.
Well, that's good. I can't wait to read the article because I suspect I know what it's about, and I've been trying not to pry.
No, not that. Something else.
No, I figured it was about your other baby.
Yep. Yeah, that. Yep. We lost Florida Woman again. Damn. I guess Restream doesn't like her.
What the fuck?
Restream doesn't like you today.
Crazy. Anyways, I assumed that it was about your other baby.
It was. It is.
Yeah. So I was trying not to pry, so I'm excited to read the article. So anywho, now that I'm back, because I keep getting booted.
It's me. Actually, I'm doing it.
Oh, I figured it. So I watched the first half of the fourth season. I watched the first half of the 4th season of Bridgerton last week. I've read nearly all of those books, so I'm really excited to see how the rest of this season will play out. I'm really pleased with it so far, but now I want to go back and reread all of the books again.
Now this was me just now learning that there's books.
Oh yeah, the books are really good, actually. So I really liked this particular book, so I'm happy with the way that the show is going.
Oh, nice.
I also spent this week that we're in at Moffitt while my uncle got his second round of the new immunotherapy that he's getting and chemo. He had his labs done on Monday, and it showed that his tumor markers have improved. So
Nice.
yay!
Woo!
There's been an issue with his platelets dropping. They were 67,000 on Monday. Normal platelets are between 150,000 and 450,000. So there's some concern about that because they were 80,000 like the last time he had his treatment. So in 2 weeks, they dropped about 20,000. But they said that they're not worried about doing like a platelet transfusion until it gets down to 10 or 15. So right now we're okay. We're pretty happy with where things are, and he hasn't had any side effects from the treatment except that he's been cooking a lot. Like he's making chicken wings today. And I want you to understand that he can't eat.
I'm about to say, doesn't he have like a thing with his throat? He can't eat.
Yeah, he can. He has a feeding tube. He can eat maybe like some soup, and it has like broth, really, stuff like that. But anything solid, nah. So
Wow.
he keeps cooking and feeding everybody else. And I'm like, he said that's what keeps him sane. But I did give him a bunch of seeds this week so that he could plant a garden so that like maybe he could do something that wouldn't cost him money. So he called himself Farmer John, whatever that means. So
Yeah, I was telling you, I literally planted some tomato seeds in the pot inside because we're just 2 months away from planting season.
yeah, it's crazy. I can't wait to eat the fresh vegetables that I don't have the patience to grow myself. So anyways, fingers crossed that everything keeps going well with him. It's so far so good. Although I will say one more thing. He's become addicted to chocolate coffees.
Okay.
Like
Hey, if that's all you can do.
yeah.
Taste is
So
taste.
yeah, so and Starbucks gave me a free one the other day for him, which I thought was really cool.
Nice.
Oh, really? Yeah, he's getting through. Yeah, so he has esophageal cancer. So the problem is that, sorry, I'm responding to our thing. So the problem is that the space between his esophagus and his stomach is really narrow, like so narrow they couldn't get the scope down in there to see if the cancer, how large the tumor was. So hopefully, like this treatment will go well and then they can stretch out his esophagus. But right now the doctor doesn't want to do it because they're afraid that they'll puncture the tumor and then the cancer will spread, which I didn't know was a thing, but apparently is. I'm really, really, really happy that your partner's uncle's treatment went well because it is a brutal fucking disease.
All right, on that note, that is it for today's show. The Opinionated Ogre podcast, like the newsletter, is free and 100% supported by you, our amazing audience. We have no advertisers or sponsors, so please consider becoming a paid subscriber for only $5 a month or $50 a year. If you prefer a one-time donation, we now have a PayPal button for your convenience. I'm reading your line.
Oh, thank you. Thank you to everyone my uncle must have heard me talking about him because he's calling me right now. Thank you to everyone who's donated to us. We are eternally, eternally grateful for your support. Like, I mean, really, from me personally, it makes it possible for me to spend so much time sitting with my uncle. So thank you.
Yep. And it also keeps her sane. Talking to you guys keeps her from screaming her head off all day long.
That is true. Well, that and Alexa Pro, but sure. Sure, it's you guys.
We're helping the Alexa Pro. See?
Supplementing it, huh?
Exactly. So help others join the Ogre Nation conversation by sharing the OgPod on the social media platform of your choice and giving us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. You can find me at the Opinionated Ogre on Substack, Blue Sky, and also on TikTok. Florida Woman, where can our beloved audience find you?
You can find me at Florida Woman Rants on Substack, and I have been making an effort to post little things on there lately.
Yay! The next Blue Wave is coming November 3rd, 2026. I didn't put the. I think I changed the date. Oh nope. Yep, I did not. And I just closed the thing I needed. Wow, I'm just
This is this is
right
the
on top
meat
of
and
it.
potatoes. The meat and potatoes that you don't see.
Yep, yep. This is the fun stuff. Good Lord. You think I would have this memorized? I've read it so many times, but I don't.
It's funny because while you're reading it, I'm playing Candy Crush Saga.
You know, I'm not even going to say anything.
You know
Just
what that is, dear? That is definitely the ADHD.
just no comment whatsoever. Okay. Ahem. The next blue wave is coming November 3rd, 2026. Just 256 days until we storm the beaches and stomp the Nazis into the dirt. They can't stop it. Remember, you are never alone. We beat the fascists once, and we will fucking do it again.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Adios.
Adios, guys.
Yeah, no, with the platelets, I was going to say it before, but I was like, let me just wait until after the show. I used to do platelet donation.
Oh, yeah.
It's called pheresis donation. I used to do that, you know, because someone explained to me that it's way more helpful for cancer patients.
It is.
But I had a small mishap the second or third time I did it, and I didn't donate blood again for like, I don't know, the better part of 15 years because it hurt so badly. I was like, I kind of developed a temporary fear of needles.
Really?
All right. So do you know what it is? Do you know how pheresis donation works at all?
No.
All right. So what they do is they pump it out of one arm. Like they put a needle in one arm. They pump it out, run it through a machine, pull out the platelets, and then pump everything else back in the other arm.
Just keep it.
What's that?
Just keep the. Don't pump it back into me. Just keep it.
No. Because they can take out like 10 times as much platelets.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the point of it, right? Because if you just donate a liter of blood, they can take out some platelets, but your body produces them so quickly that they can yoink out 10 times as much platelets this way because your body just produces them really, really fast. So they can get way more doing it this way. And then they put everything else, because, you know, they can't take out 10 liters of blood. You die. But they can take out 10 liters worth, not 10 liters, but, you know, the amount of platelets from 10 liters of blood in one shot, and you'll be perfectly fine. So they pump it all back in, plus saline to replace the fluids that they just took out. So they put the needle in the other arm. So you sit there, and it's like a 2.5 hour process. It's tedious. But, you know, whatever, good cause, cancer. So what happened was that the last time they did it, they put the needle in my arm, and she missed the vein.
Oh, no.
And they started pumping saline into my arm. And I couldn't move because my other arm had a needle in it. So I couldn't reach over and yank out the needle, pumping liquid fire into my arm.
Did you scream?
Yes, I was just like, is this supposed to burn? Oh my God. Ow. Oh my God. What the fuck? So, you know, she came over and was like, it's burning. What the fuck? And then she realized she'd missed it. And then I finished anyway. Like, they tried again and they got it in and they finished.
Oh my God, the fact that they did it again.
Well, I was like, I'm already fucking here and I'm already in fucking agony. I might as well just get it done. Right. I already paid the price for it. I might as well fucking do it. So I sat there with my arm on fire for, like, I mean, it faded soon enough, but Jesus Christ.
That's crazy.
And the worst part was I couldn't move because I had a needle in my arm. I was like, I have to sit here. Yeah, it was not fun. And I just spent years, I just couldn't go back and donate blood. So it was like, I was just afraid to go donate blood again.
Yeah, I don't donate blood because I bruise so easily. It's always hard for people to find my veins, and then it's terrible, and it's crazy because I'm O positive. So it's like blood that they want, but I feel like if you want my blood so bad, like maybe you should stop making it
Yeah, no, I don't have like particularly special blood, but my veins are really easy to find. Every
Yeah.
time I have to go do blood work, it's just like, yeah, left arm, they're like, la 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 la, boop. And it's like, yep, there you go.
Oh, no, it's mine are so hard to find, and I just it just hurts so much every time they do it.
Yeah, I really, yeah, I see everybody talking about like they donate blood. I have to start go back and doing it regularly again. I don't think I can't do the pheresis again though. I can't do the platelets, but I have to start going and donating regular blood again, like just on a normal basis. I've been so bad about that. I used to do it constantly, and now it's like I've done it like twice in the last 20 years because of that, which I feel bad about.
So when I was in high school, Kathleen said that she went to donate blood and she had a delayed faint. So she left the session and passed out, got banned for life. Well,
Damn.
so when I was in high school, we were told by our English teacher that if we went to donate blood, that we would get extra credit points. And I really, really needed the extra credit points. I really needed the extra credit points because I missed like 67 days of my senior year of school. And
Jesus.
I had to get A's. So let me just say that I missed 67 days of my senior year of high school, but I
And you weren't even pregnant yet.
no. I passed all of those classes with A's and B's. So tell me where my children get it from. But I needed extra credit points.
Clearly, Alex, because he was smart enough to marry you. Aw, you should tell him I said that. He'll agree.
So we are going to so anyways, I needed a little bit of extra credit points to get me up over I needed an A in that class to bring my GPA up enough. So I went to the thing, they tried to get blood. I had literally a baseball sized bruise on my arm. They could never get blood, but I went back to the class, I unwrapped my arm and I go, I tried. Can I get the points? and she's like, whoa, yep. And to be honest, I feel like she should have given me more points.
Nope, because of your terrible experience.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let everyone skedaddle.
All right,
everybody,
guys.
we will see you next week. Thanks for being here.
Yep, thank you.